Oh, shit talkers, we are back. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. Daniel and I have an exciting show for you today. I think it might be relatable to someone out there, and it's really more along the lines of what when we started this channel, what we were hoping for. We seem to have dealt with some heavy subjects off the rip. So we wanted to lighten it up a little bit here today and maybe talk about something a little bit more universal. Again, we are the two dads talking. I am Logan, that is Daniel. And we hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Unfortunately for me, I did not have such a great weekend. I had a great weekend, not great weekend. It was a great weekend because the weather was awesome and all, but it was a bad weekend because my little 12-year-old son was playing in something called the Carnation Bowl. It's our version of the Super Bowl for our little league out here, and it was the first time the team has ever made it there. This team was organized when the kids were in second and third grade. This is my son's first year with the team. And these parents, I have to give them a lot of credit. I mean, they went all out from having parades to they had a little pep rally. They had a paint your car day. They had where when the team was walking in, the fathers would be on one side, the mothers were on the other side, and the boys would give their mom a carnation flower. A professional photographer was there. As they were given the flower, as dads were shooting off these little confetti hand canyon kind of things, so confetti all in the air. I mean, they even rented a like a luxury bus to take the boys to the game, which was about 40 minutes away from our house. I mean, they really went all out. So I have to say big up to all the parents on the Broomfield Blitz #2 team. Unfortunately, the game did not end as well as we had hoped. We thoroughly got our asses kicked by Broomfield 1. I guess we know why they're Broomfield 1, because they're the only team that's beat us this year, and they beat us twice. The first time it wasn't as bad. This time they took us to the old woodshed and decided to use all the switches that they could find, and they whooped us like we were a bad habit. So, but congratulations to my son and his teammates. It was just amazing time this year getting to know the boys. It was really fun. Sometimes we would do carpool, and these guys, Justin and Lukey specifically, big up to you kids. I mean, they would just literally have me rolling. I just so enjoyed, hearing them and hearing my son and their natural element, and learned a lot of new words. What's the new one I was learning? 6-7, whatever that's supposed to mean. But that's really got the whole country on tilt right now, from what I understand. And a couple more words that I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what the heck that means. So I'm officially old, I guess. I am so not cool, so not with it. But speaking of sports, that's what kind of brings us to our subject here today. My man Daniel last night called me up and had some words and some has come to some conclusions and some things that he really wants to get off his chest. So what we would like to say, of course, with every show, please like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, put it through all your socials, because hopefully we are, going over topics that, everyday dads, everyday parents, everyday people, because this program is for the people, by the people, and, it really is meant for you. So if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about certain subjects, or want to comment on our subject, please, our subject that we're talking about, please put it in the comment section, or you can email us. Where can they email us at, Daniel?
2dadstalkingshit@gmail.com.
And it's spelled out like it sounds. So 2dadstalking, hard word, at gmail.com. So without further ado, I am going to bring my man Daniel into this. And Daniel, please tell us what is on your heart today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Logan. Yeah, just it actually stems back from our, we've been talking about bullying, healing, recognizing when it's time to let go of things that don't align with who we are anymore, you know? Um, and this episode, and that episode made me realize that there's another area of my life that where I needed closure to, something lighter, but something that still ties back with growth. Um, so for years, since, gosh, I'm 33. So the last 33 years, I've identified as a Detroit fan. That means the Lions, the Tigers, Pistons, the Red Wings. That was part of my sports identity, being raised there,
What's your
Um,
AAA team there in Detroit you root for?
AAA team?
Just joke. I'm just joking. You got all the Detroit sweep down, so I didn't know if you had a AAA team you would go out to. But I'm just throwing you off your game. Just playing.
No, it's good.
So you are a Detroit native through and through. You rooted for all the sports teams, but where are we at today?
Well, as you know, I've worn the Detroit Tigers hat the last couple episodes here and there. But recently,
Look like Magnum PI. You don't even know who that is. You're too young. But he always wore the Detroit hat.
Yeah. It's a great hat, But but I have to be honest with myself. I never thought I'd say this. It's been about 5 years since I moved here to Colorado.
How long? You kind of cut out. How long?
5 years.
5 years. Okay. We moved here about the same time.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, it was just before the COVID outbreak.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, I was here literally 1 month before COVID hit. We tell the kids, oh, we're moving cross country from Washington State. You're going to love it. Colorado's got great weather. There's going to be great people. You're going to make all these new friends. And we're here for a month. And it's like, go home for 2 years. Your daddy's your new best friend. I hate you, Daddy. Yeah, I love you, though. So the good news is we did find out that our family does like each other. Not so many other families we talked to fared as well. So we all hung out well together. But yeah, we were here literally 5 minutes before COVID hit and the world changed.
It's almost like the last lifeboat of the Titanic.
Very much so. I like that. The last lifeboat of the Titanic.
Yeah, man. I never thought I'd say this, but I don't connect with the direction the teams have been going. And
now, is it one team specifically, or is it each one of your Detroit area teams that you're just kind of struggling with in general?
The Lions. I mean, they lost yesterday, but it was a close game. They're a great team. These teams are great teams, and it's nothing against the city, the team, or the fans. And I love and respect Michigan and the people there. That's my home. But when you look at the numbers, I don't know if you knew, Detroit Lions committed 55 penalties in the first 9 games of 2025 season. 55.
Try being a Longhorns fan. I mean, penalties is our middle name.
Right. But they've had years of experience. They've had a lot of past where there's been unsportsmanlike discipline, stuff like that. Like example, what was his name? Jameson Williams, I believe it was. He had made that touchdown and they were going to take the lead. He decides to do a stupid celebration that caused a unsportsmanlike conduct or unsportsmanlike penalty, which made them go all the way back. They couldn't make the field goal or the extra point. But I after that play though, it made me kind of reflect on what's the right word? I'm trying to think of the right word.
I mean, you sound like a down in your soup sports fan. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing Cowboys gear. I was made a Cowboys fan even before I was born. My mother, when she found out she was pregnant, she never in her heart considered that she'd ever have a girl. She knew it was going to be a boy. And the first thing she went out and bought from my nursery was a Dallas Cowboy trash can, which is still in storage and being shipped to me here soon, back in Houston. And which made the story so crazy is that my dad was so butthurt that my mother did this and made me, put the flag down that he's a Cowboys fan, because my dad's a lifelong, he's from right outside of Pittsburgh. So he's a lifelong Steelers fan. Nice. So, of course, being a product of the 70s, the Steelers and the Cowboys used to go at it, back when they were both good. And so, it sounds like you're, penalties and things happen, but what is it about the Detroit sports scene now that you're wearing a White Sox hat and a Bears shirt? Sounds like you're doing like a Saturday Night Live skit. The Bears.
The Bears. No, my thoughts are it's not a fact about the facts about like these penalties and stuff like that. It's not a fact about the community, and it's not a judgment about Michigan as a whole. That's my personal assessment of the team's behavior, and what I want to support is, well, my wife has been a lifelong Chicago fan. Her and her family's from Chicago, and growing up, my first garbage can, we were talking about little trash can and stuff, was the Chicago Bulls during the whole MJ, Michael Jordan times, stuff like that. But just like Detroit, Chicago teams have always had a good history, really rich history. And my thoughts of it is similar to the bullying situation and stuff like that. It just helped me it just brought closure to me. I don't know how to say it, but it just brought closure to me, where it's just like it's end of a chapter.
You mean the bullying episodes brought closure to you?
Yeah, but watching the Lions game as an example, and like Detroit Red Wings, they won the game last night too, which go great job Red Wings. But it helped me bring closure to the closing of that chapter of my time.
Okay, let me back up because you got me confused. Like them playing brought you closure, or what's brought you close? I mean, what specifically has brought you closure? Right. I'm not understanding.
Conversation with my wife, wife and her family. What I've noticed is what brings me to she's a Chicago fan, as I said. They're Bears fan. Her mom's side is White Sox fan because they're South Side. Bulls, Blackhawks, and my father-in-law is a Cubs fan because he's North Side. He still has family, and that's her world. And somewhere along the way, supporting her teams, because I started supporting her teams. So, it's like, hey, got to support my wife too, But supporting her teams has became more meaningful than holding on to old allegiances.
Okay.
And watching the games together, rooting for the same side teams, and sharing those moments as a family, that has a way deeper impact than any team logo.
So what you're saying is you need that Modelo guy to come drop by your house because you're the guy that married into the family, and now you root harder than anybody else.
I guess so. Yes.
All right. Well,
and
that's
and some people could say, "Oh, well, Daniel's bandwagoning because Bears are first place in NFC North." Yes, they are they're the first seed. But if even through those past seasons when they had heartbreaks and stuff like that, I still would support them. It's like, at that time I was like, as long as they're not playing Detroit, I would support them. But it's not flip-flopping because I wore a Detroit Tiger hat, but this is, to me, what I've been feeling about it. It's more alignment, more growth, and this is choosing. And what I'm trying to choose is bringing peace, joy, connection, and integrity and unity in my life.
Wow. I think there's going to be a few of our audience members out there saying that you sound like you a little P-whipped. That your wife and your in-laws got you bent over and saying, hey, look, you support our teams or else you can get out.
Not at all, because
well, in all due fairness, you know, I am a pseudo Giants fan in baseball because not so much of my wife, but her family are huge Giants fans, and her grandmother, who died at 102 a couple years ago, she was about to be 103. She was a big Giants fan, and I would go and sit with her, and she would actually watch the game on TV, but listen to it on the radio, like the old style. And she, even though she was, you know, quite old, she kept her mind the whole time, and she would talk to me about, you know, going to the ballpark. They had season tickets for, you know, 30 some odd years, 40 years, something ridiculous. But she would talk about going to the ball games and seeing Willie Mays, and she actually taught Dusty Baker in high school. He and his brother were the first to integrate her high school. It's amazing when it was cool enough to have brothers that come to your high school, you choose the two best athletes in the state, or at least that area, the county in California, to have them be part of your school. We'll take those two right over there if we got to have a couple of these. You know, come on in here, boys. So I can understand, you know, to a certain extent, but that for a lot of our audience and a lot of people out there, they're going to have a hard time, you know, understanding how you switch your allegiances, especially to, you know, the enemy. I know that Detroit and Chicago teams have always gone at each other pretty hardcore. So you might not be able to go back to Michigan again. Do you still have family or friends back there that you go visit?
Oh yeah. And I also wanted to add too, growing up, my aunt, my aunt and a few of my relatives lived in Chicago. So I've always had, I was more the White Sox, the South side of town. But like one of my first baseball games I went to, it's now Comerica Park. I believe they're changing the name again, but the original Detroit Tigers, Tiger Stadium. That was my first game, but close to the very next game, I went to Wrigley Field. Like, I've always been raised on Detroit and Chicago teams.
So, you know, just from our conversation last night, you know, you had said to me, you know, due to our shows that we did a week ago, you know, it brought you a lot of closure on, you know, that you didn't even realize you probably needed closure on the bullying saga in your life. And now, because of that, you're closing your allegiances to your sports teams, and now you are going to go over to become a Chicago fan. So I guess my question to that is, that's probably more job security for the missus, because now not only are you married, got two beautiful kids, but now you have to root for the same sports teams. I bet she's thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, she's one where she's like, you like whatever sports teams you do like, you know. It doesn't, for her, it doesn't matter, because she wears Detroit Lions, she's worn Detroit Red Wings stuff, and you know, we support each other. It was more of my decision. Like I said, it's much more for me is a closing of a chapter. You know, I'm not living there anymore. Yes, I don't live in Chicago, but we still visit quite often. We still have
you're always in Chicago.
We still have a lot of family in Chicago. I mean, she has family on Tampa, the west side of the west side of Florida. You know, it was my choice what I want to do. Ultimately.
All right. Well, I guess my question is, since I collect sports memorabilia, what jerseys you want to slide this way? Because you can't be caught dead wearing Detroit gear now, right?
I mean, I'll still support Detroit. It's still, you know, it's still my home. It's still, you know, it's where my roots were, you know, but I'll still always support Detroit in a way. But it's one of those where I just can't support an old chapter anymore in my life.
Okay. Well, it sounds deep, brother. Sounds like you got some Sigmund Freud, needed to spend some time on the therapy couch getting it all out. So,
but can I tell you how I truly do feel by wearing Detroit, wearing Chicago, wearing the Bears.
Well, this is why we're here today. Lay it on me.
I feel complete closure and peace. And it's just like, moving on now. Well, I still...
For our audience members out there that are looking for closure with their own demons and in their own life, what advice would you give them? Or, what is this closure at this, point in time, since obviously it's very fresh for you, but what does it mean to you? What are you hoping to gain from it going forward? What do you want the next chapter of your life to look like as you start to write that chapter?
Main thing, growth. Being able to what's the right word? Being able to put down new roots to be able to build my wife's and our family, our life, jobs, etc. That's what I'm hoping from it.
Okay. Well,
it's a team,
deep, but I'm sure your Detroit teams out there, if they catch this episode, be like, why'd you have to ditch us just to grow and be closer to your family and what have you? We've loved you all these years. What do they used to call the Detroit fans with the bags over their heads? There was a name for them. I can't remember now. Hey, if you know that out there and TV, put that in the comments. Huh?
Lions fans.
Well, yeah, I know, but there was
0-16 season.
Like the Saints used to call them the Aints, or I thought Detroit had a name for it too, for fans that wore bags over their heads.
I'm not sure that one.
I guess they just call that most years, Well, they're good now. I mean, I really like Amara. Is it Amara that plays for you guys?
Yeah, St. Brown. I still have a shirt with his number and everything.
I dig him because I've actually been his dad used to come on one of the sports channels that I podcasts that I liked, and when the boys were he and his two brothers were still in junior high school era, and he would talk about how he and his wife raised the boys, and they were 4.0 students, and in the summertime they had to do book reports and every week, and they spoke multiple languages, and they really I would tell my wife before we even had kids, it was like, when we start to have children, I want to raise our children like this. Now we have fallen way short of that. Sorry, Mr. Brown, you gave me a great blueprint, but the German woman I married didn't. You have a German woman, I have a German woman, but we didn't quite follow that blueprint. I'm sorry, but our kids are amazing. But the way that the St. Browns, their name is really not St. Brown. The dad added that.
Really?
He added that when they were born. Their last name is truly just Brown, but he thought St. Brown sounded more regal or what have you. So that's why he gave them such unique names like Amun Ra, so that people would remember him. And they're doing a pretty good job. Two of the three boys made it to the NFL. They were kind of called. They were saying they were the football version of the Ball family. So, they do know those guys from way back in the day. And I don't need to go on this guy's bio except for Mr. Brown and the way that you and your missus raised your boys. Definitely, if you ever get a chance to, you got young kids. If you ever have a chance to go look up some of those clips, go do that, because you really had a really good blueprint of how to raise children. So, well, Daniel, unless you got something more to say, I think you said it, dude.
Some people might ask, I'm sure people may ask, will you ever wear Detroit gear again or anything like that? Sometimes, maybe, but I'm going to put my roots somewhere else right now. It's just, that's kind of where I'm at right now with closing this chapter and moving on to writing a new chapter.
All right. Well, I always say that my mom and my 12-year-old son, that they're the best bandwagon fans you'll ever meet. They're the kind of people that read the sports section on Sunday to make bets for the games that played the Saturday before. They don't lose. So when last year I met Peyton Manning at a volleyball tournament that both of our daughters were in, and so we got caught kind of in this turnstile. It was just he and I in there, and I told him, I said, my mother is a huge fan of yours, and she just happened to be standing right outside the turnstile. My mother did. And I said, it'd mean a lot to her if you'd say hello. I said, she was your biggest fan until you retired. Now she's on to Patrick Mahomes. So I said, she says, yeah, I hear that a lot. So I'm like, yeah, she doesn't pick a loser. So, she feels like that she always gets the Kentucky Derby. I'm like, well, it'd be nice, Mom, if you would whisper that to me, a couple days before. I'd like to, get a bigger house out of this deal. So if you got the numbers every year to the Kentucky Derby, we can make some money with that. So, well, Daniel, I wish you well on this next leg of your journey. I think it's amazing that, like so many people out there, we need to put past traumas, whether it be bullying or something else, behind us and be able to have closure. So I'm glad you got that closure, and now you're on to the next chapter of your life. And I look forward to see how all your Detroit fans and all the people in your family from that side that are still diehard Detroit fan base, how they're going to react to you. If you're going to get, those Christmas cards at Christmas, or if you're just going to get a lump of coal in the mail. There
you go. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. I've told most of my family, my brother, he moved to Ohio. Yeah, he supports Detroit still, but he's now a Cleveland Guardians fan and the Cleveland Browns and those teams, the Cavaliers.
Well, I guess your family's just a bunch of party hoppers. So, all right, brother. Hey. Well, to our fan base out there, please again, like, subscribe, comment. I'm sure there's going to be a few that have a few things to say to Daniel here. I stick with the one that brought me to the dance, even though they've been hurting my feelings for 30 years, probably as long as you've been alive, Daniel. The Cowboys have sucked. So, or just done enough just to break our hearts every year and give us enough hope to feel like it's going to be different next year, just for us to get more of the same. So as a Cowboys fan, I get it. But like I said, I stick to the one that brought me to the dance, but I wish you well, brother. All right. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, shoot us emails if you have something you'd like to say or something you would like to, for us to cover. We are still looking for guest spots. If you're doing something wonderful in your community, whether that be in the business community, whether that be in your community, we would love to highlight local businesses, even whether they be here in Colorado or abroad, and people definitely that are very much integral in their communities and try to make their community a better place. Those are other people we would like to highlight as well. So if that is you, please get at us. Again, what's the email address there, Daniel?
twodadstalkingshit@gmail.com.
twodadstalkingshit@gmail.com. All right. Well, until next time, look for another post here in the next few days, I'm sure. Until next time, we say thank you, and we're